I've been reading your comments, and some of you noticed things that I didn't fully pick up on at first. So I went back and looked at this again, and honestly, something feels even more off now. If you're new here, I explore these situations using the tarot from an intuitive perspective. And this is just for insight and reflection. Let's first look at the overall energy coming through from the collective perspective. Okay, I want to ask the cards, first of all, what is the overall energy surrounding this situation right now? So I'm going to pick a card here. Okay, so we've got the Judgment card. This is about people, sort of law enforcement trying to make decisions on how to move forward with this case. Okay, because so far, obviously, what they're doing is not yielding results. So they're getting all kinds of judgment from people because of how botched this case seems to be, right? And rightfully so. And now they're feeling that pressure. They are now trying to do things a little bit differently. They're trying to make better decisions. If you ask me, it feels like it's a little too late, but if it finds Nancy and it brings her back, why not? Right? So, and by the way, for those of you who are not familiar with this case, it's about an 84-year-old woman who was taken out of her home about 50 days ago, and she vanished without a trace. And law enforcement have yet to find her or the person responsible for this. So, getting back to the reading, now I want to see what people are intuitively picking up on. So, what are people sensing or noticing that may be obvious on the surface? The tower. Well, yeah, this is obvious that this case was handled really disastrously. Like, handling of this case, I feel like this case is just falling apart. Like, law enforcement have just bungled this case, and it's just a mess. They feel like things have just really fallen apart with this investigation, and people don't trust the investigation. They don't trust what they're hearing anymore, right? And some of you can relate to that. It's hard to trust right now, but what choice do we have? Now, what's being missed? Okay, let's look at what might be getting overlooked or not fully understood here. What's not being clearly seen right now? The Two of Wands, people working together. What they're not seeing is that there's more than one person involved. What we're not realizing is that there's a team here who committed this crime. It's more than one person who are in cahoots with one another. It seems like law enforcement is only focused on one person, but this card is saying no, there was a collaborative effort to commit this crime. So there's more than one person behind it. And if you see the world, it's telling me that this person may not necessarily be in the US. It could be in Mexico because Mexico is close by. That this, as one of the ransom notes said, seems to be more of an international case, not just the US. And authorities are focused more on the US, even though they alerted Mexican authorities, of Nancy's disappearance, but they're still kind of being a little bit closed-minded and more focused on the US instead of international. See that globe, right? Authorities should be looking outside of the US, maybe Mexico makes the most sense right now. Seems like they don't believe the perpetrators could be from Mexico or could not be in Mexico or could have taken Nancy to Mexico. That's what's getting missed. They're kind of not wanting to look at it from that perspective. And then in a lot of ways, too, they don't have jurisdiction over Mexico. They can't really do much there anyway. So they have to focus because she was taken obviously from the US. So they have to focus on the US and how she was taken before they get there. But for some reason, they kind of want to believe that it's just happened within the US. Mexico is not involved and that it was this inexperienced, unsmart person who did this. It's telling us it goes deeper than what law enforcement are understanding right now. They're not looking at the bigger picture the way they should be. Okay. So let's go deeper and look at what's underneath all of this. So I'm going to ask, what's the deeper energy or truth beneath this situation? You've got the King of Pentacles. This is about money. Who is trying to get money out of this, right? I remember My previous reading pointed to this being about money. And here it is again. This is about money. And there's someone involved here who is powerful. This person is calling the shots. Money person is the one involved here. Right. So there's someone who is doing this for money, and there's someone who is controlling or who's the mastermind. They didn't commit this themselves. They've got people who assisted them. So this is again going back to that two of wands. This is a team effort. There's more than one person involved in this. It's kind of giving criminal ring, or that's what this is giving here. And it's definitely it's about money and power. So let's go now to our final card. What is important to understand at this point? So what do we need to know? And for this, I'll pick two cards. What do we need to know right now about the Nancy Guthrie case? The Lover's card. Again, you see these two people holding hands. This is about collaboration, two people working together. And it could even be a couple who are working together on this. This is about going from city to city or county to county or state to state. So there's a couple here who are involved in this. This was a collaborative effort. And when I see the Lover's card, this is someone who she knows and at one point in time had cared for. Not a lover, but someone that she was kind to and compassionate towards and cared for. At least one person involved in this, she knows who that person is. So that's what this is saying. And that is why, right, it was easy for them to remove her. And the cherry is about a car. This is why it was easy for them to get her from point A to point B, okay, without being found out. This is someone who also hovered around, who was close to her, who she had a good relationship with and trusted. One of the people who took her, she knew and trusted the person. And so she let her guard down. What do we do when we know and trust them? We let our guard down and they find out things. This is another way of scoping, right? Before you commit a crime. So this is what we need to know. And a lot of you have expressed this in the comments that you feel that it's an inside job. And those who are saying it. These are not, whoever did this has some tie to Nancy. And she knows at least one person involved. She may not know all the players involved, but she knows at least one person. This was someone who was around her and they were able to study her habits. They were able to study, different things, the cameras, this, that. They were able to pick up information. It wasn't someone who just came twice to the house. And, this was someone who kind of had some type of a friendship and a bond with her, at least one of the people involved. But there are multiple players involved. So that's new information that we found out today. But it seems like the police are only focused on the individual in the camera, but beyond that person. It's about understanding what feels present energetically. What I find really interesting is how many of you are picking up on similar things. I'd really love to hear your thoughts, especially if something stood out to you that others might not have noticed. Sometimes when something feels off, there's a reason for that. Thank you all for watching. Love and light to you all. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.